What's up, everyone? James Lynch here, back with some more year-end content. And in today's video, I'm going to count down the top 5 most hated fighters by UFC fans in 2025. And these are not fighters that I personally don't like. I think a lot of this hate that I'm going to be talking about here is pretty unwarranted, but it's still something we got to talk about and take notice of. And coming in at number 5 is one that maybe some people will disagree with, but this guy got a lot of hate this year, and that was Bo Nickal. And of course, this had to do with a variety of things, but mainly for him losing to Reinier de Ridder. Fight was not close. De Ridder absolutely destroyed Bo Nickal, taking him out in the second round as the first loss for Nickal. Nickal was a minus 375 favorite. People are not happy about this fight. So Bo Nickal was the a lot of content creators went after him. The fans went after him. There was a good couple weeks where anything Bo Nickal did, people were criticizing it. And look, some of it I understand. I mean, there was the talk over the years of Bo Nickal saying, I'm only a main card fighter. And some of the comments he made about DDP and Chimaev saying that he'd have success against them. I don't think Bo's that bad of a guy personally, but I can understand why fans got upset with some of those comments. But I think the big one was that the UFC clearly was trying to build up Bo Nickal, putting him in good opportunities. And then he gets that step up and he gets destroyed. And we know how the sport works. If you're a highly touted prospect and you lose, the fans will come out like vultures. So Bo Nickal, one of the most hated. Yes, he redeemed himself later this year with the win over Rodolfo Vieira, but I still think fans don't like Bo Nickal to an extent, right? And they were very vocal about initially when he was on UFC 322. Fans were like, get him off the prelim or get him off the main card and put him on the prelims. So Bo Nickal, certainly when you look back on 2025, was one of the most hated fighters. He comes in at number 5. And we'll also do some honorable mentions as well. Okay, coming in at number 4 is a fighter that did not win a single fight in the UFC this year, and that's Patchy Mix. Now, similar thing here, where Patchy Mix was favored to win his UFC debut against Mario Batista. And look, Patchy had a great career in Bellator. You can't convince me otherwise. There's people that say, oh, he was never that good. I disagree. If you watch Patchy Mix in Bellator, the people that followed his career, he was a very good fighter. And this was very unexpected with him going out and losing. Now, when he came into the UFC, obviously he had some words about I'm going to destroy Mario Batista, something along those lines. And that rubbed fans the wrong way. But I want to remind fans as well, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to go into a fight and be like, I think this guy's going to beat me? No, you talk a little trash. I don't have a huge issue with it, but fans just did not like Patchy. And then on top of that, him losing this fight where he wasn't that big of a favorite. He was only a minus 190. It's the fact that he lost his second fight against the former KSW champ in Whiplash. Loses a split decision there. I actually thought he won that fight, but ends up losing. And yeah, fans just have, because it's a combination of things. So it's a combination of the fact that I'm sure there was people that bet on Patchy Mix going into that fight, and they're upset they lost the bet. I think there's another sector of the fans that just no matter what promotion you come from, they're going to defend the UFC and say the UFC is the best no matter what. These guys suck because they're in a different organization. You see a lot of that from fans. So it's sort of this perfect storm of Patchy Mix losing his fights, him being a betting favorite, and him coming from another organization. So Patchy Mix, when you look back on 2025, definitely one of the most hated fighters in the UFC. Okay, coming in at number 3. This guy got a ton of hate too, and maybe you forgot about it a bit, but there was a stretch for a couple weeks there where everyone was talking about Reinier de Ridder losing against Brendan Allen. So there was a lot that went into this, right? And it's interesting because Reinier de Ridder himself caused some of the hate on Bo Nickal for his win, and then he gets it back after the UFC Vancouver card. So what I've noticed with fans especially is, and this is something we'll talk about a little bit later, but fans get really weird about the following things that could happen. Number 1 is a fighter missing weight. Fans get very weird about that. Number 2 is fighter pay. Fans get weird about that stuff. And the third one is fighters not being able to continue. And that's what happened in de Ridder's fight against Brendan Allen. He was not able to continue. His coaches made the decision. And listen, I think what people are going to forget when they look back on this fight is that Reinier de Ridder actually had a lot of success against Brendan Allen early on. It looked like he was going to finish Brendan Allen, but he wasn't able to. He gasses out. He's not able to continue for the round. And now all the fans label de Ridder as a quitter. And again, what plays into this is the fact, there's a lot of stuff that plays into this. First and foremost, he was a minus 225 betting favorite. I didn't see a lot of people picking Brendan Allen, and I don't think Allen has really captivated the fans that much. So there's a lot of people that were rooting for de Ridder. So for him to go out there and not only not win, but not continue, that rubbed fans rubbed fans the wrong way, and he got a lot of hate for that. The other thing was people expected that if he won that fight against Brendan Allen, he would be fighting Khamzat Chimaev. So not only does he lose, but he misses out on this title opportunity. And now they're going to give the fight to Imavov, who I think people are happy about that. But there's also some people who wanted to see de Ridder and Khamzat Chimaev fight each other too. So we were kind of robbed of 3 different things. And I'll say it again, I don't agree with the hate on a fighter who can't continue. These guys are warriors, but you know how fans are. I'm basing this all off, social media and just fan reaction to certain fighters. So Reinier de Ridder coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, and this guy really should be number 1, but he's number 2, and I'll explain the difference why. Number 2 is Isaac Dulgarian. So we know the story there. I've done tons of videos on this. I will continue to do videos on this when we get more information, but we know the whole situation with the alleged fight fixing scandal. He loses to Reinier de Ridder, loses in the first round. Worst performance of his career. A ton of money comes in on Reinier going into the fight. Dulgarian was a big favorite. The line ends up, going the other way, and Dulgarian did not look very good in the fight to the point where the UFC releases him. And his team, Factory X, they need to update this, has also released him as well. So he was hated by a lot of people because, there's a lot of people who bet on the sport. Him doing this allegedly is jeopardizing, certain books. Like, remember when the James Krause thing went down, there were certain books that were not offering bets going forward. Thankfully, in this situation, it didn't happen, but there's a lot of bettors upset with this. There's also a lot of bettors who probably bet on Dulgarian as a favorite before all this happened and lost their money, so they're upset with that. And, this opened a can of worms with, and as far as being hated, think of people that train with him, friends of his that are now being accused of fixing stuff because they're associated with him. So Dulgarian gets a ton of hate. He should be number 1 in my books as far as people not liking him, because this is one of the worst things you can do in any sport is allegedly fix a fight. I keep saying allegedly because he hasn't been proven guilty of anything, but he is under investigation. He is released by the UFC. I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that something was up. I mean, there's not a lot of money coming in on a fighter for nothing. So yeah, Dulgarian to me would be the most hated, but he comes in at number 2. And you want to know why? Because coming in at number 1, what did I say? What did I say earlier in this video? I said, if you quit in a fight, fans get really weird about it. That's where we're at. Nobody got more hate this year than Tom Aspinall. Nobody. It's still going on right now. Everything. Aspinall, can't continue. He's quitting. Aspinall wasn't that good. So there's so many things that go into this. First and foremost, there's the fact that the heavyweight division hasn't been moving. That's number 1, right? Because this whole Jones thing. Is he going to fight Jones? Is Jones going to fight Tom Aspinall? Well, turns out Jones isn't going to fight Aspinall. By the way, I called that in several videos. I've been calling that for years. I knew Jones would never fight Aspinall. Hasn't happened, will never happen. That didn't happen. So that's the first thing. Fans are already upset that the division's not moving. Number 2 is there were people that bet Aspinall and thought Aspinall would win this fight. There was also a lot of people who said that Aspinall would win easily. I wasn't one of those people, but I did like the style matchup because of the ground game for Aspinall, and I did pick him, and he didn't look that good in that fight. So there's that too, where people wanted to be proven right about Aspinall, steamrolling his opponents. He did in a lot of his fights. He wasn't able to do that against Gane. Gane actually looked like he was better in that fight. And then Gane, looked like he was going to, and there was people that probably bet on Gane and said, you know what, I don't think Aspinall's that good. And then the fight ends and it's inconclusive and they give it a win. A no contest in the fight, but Aspinall keeps his belt. So there's people upset that bet on Gane that therefore hate Aspinall. Then the third layer of this is the John Jones thing, right? There was a lot of people that went after John Jones for not fighting Aspinall. People were probably tired of that. So the fact that Aspinall has his performance is not able to continue, fans are probably of John Jones are mad at that. The fifth layer of this thing, who's one of the biggest content creators supporting, it's Tom Aspinall. MMA Guru is a big Aspinall fan, and he even talked about this, that he thinks that Aspinall got a lot of unnecessary hate because MMA Guru was kind of rooting for Aspinall. He's had him on his show. He's very pro Aspinall. So that also added into the layer of things as well. So it's kind of this storm of all these things happening at once. You got Aspinall coming out after the fight, showing the medical report and all that. You got people saying it's fake, people saying that he can continue, people saying that, oh no, Dana White said he can continue, so he's just faking it. This, again, I think this is one of the dumbest things that people are arguing with. I think Aspinall should not even be on this list. There's no reason to hate someone that didn't even commit the foul. The guy who committed the foul should be the one that people are upset with, not Tom Aspinall. And I've done plenty of videos on this explaining this. But yeah, Aspinall, listen, I can look, take myself out of my bubble and look on the outside looking in. And Tom Aspinall is the most hated fighter this year. There's no question about it. He's more hated than a guy who allegedly fixed a fight. That's how crazy this sport has become with the fans and everyone else. So yeah, Tom Aspinall, most hated fighter in 2025. There's no questions asked. If you want to debate with me in the comments about that, you can, but I really don't think anyone got as much hate as Tom Aspinall did. Now, I want to give two quick honorable mentions to this one. This one I didn't add in because technically, I mean, is he still in the UFC? Is he not? John Jones will get an honorable mention. He got a ton of crap to the point of where John Jones changed his Twitter profile photo to a duck because people called him a duck for ducking Tom Aspinall. So, and he delayed, what could have been one of the biggest fights in heavyweight history, him and Tom Aspinall. So fans hate him for that. I'll put him as an honorable mention, but I'm not putting him in the top 5 because as far as I'm concerned, John's retired. I don't think he comes back for the White House card. I don't think he comes back and fights anytime soon. So if he's retired, no point in putting him on this top 5 hated list because he's not in the UFC anymore. And then one more I'll add on here too, that he got a lot of hate, maybe not to the extent of some of these other guys, is Amin Zahabi. Now look, if you're in Canada, you're probably not hating Amin Zahabi, you're supporting him, but it's the fact that he had 2 fights that were very close. The Aldo fight especially, we saw how fans treated Mario Batista when he won in a controversial decision over Aldo. Amin Zahabi did a similar thing and got a lot of hate, came through as an underdog. And then the Chito Vera fight, a lot of people felt like Vera did enough to edge that one out, so he got some hate for that. So that's another honorable mention there is Amin Zahabi and John Jones, also not liked by a lot of fans. But saying that, I also know fans that do like Jones and Zahabi a lot, but had to put them on here because I did see them get a lot of hate. So let me know in the comments who you think are some of the most hated fighters in 2025. Again, I'm just looking at this as the fan base as a whole. People that I noticed got a lot of unnecessary hate and all that stuff. This is not I have nothing against any of these fighters, actually. I like all of them. I don't have any issues with any of these fighters, but do have to point out some of the trends that have happened this year, and one of them being the fighters that fans don't like. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.